Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Salome here. Today I decided to talk about books that I have loved past few months instead of films because these are really good recommendations that I think people who love to think and reflect would benefit from. I have read a few books recently, and these are one is extra, so 6 books that I think no matter what you do, where you are, if you are a human being and you are sometimes struggling to find answers to ambiguous questions, these are the books for you. These are not books for people who just want to read books to escape. These are not books of stories. These are books of life. Let's dive into these books. You will thank me later and comment down below if you already have read any of them. Let's start by a most famous book. I think everyone knows it or has read it. It is Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. Because Georgian is my Latin language, I read in Georgian translation mostly, but if there are English writers, I will read them in English, obviously. So, Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka, I read it a few years ago, and I reread it a few months ago. What a unique mind Franz Kafka had. I don't know how to characterize this book other than disturbingly refreshing. Not only the storyline, even if it's fiction, for me it's just pure philosophy. It is like Kafka opened up the weirdness and twisted nature of human being and exposed it to us without any hesitation. This is for me a pure piece of literature. It made me annoyed, and I like when I'm annoyed. I like when I have this healthy anger towards stories, and even though this is a very small book, it is mind-blowingly well written, and I can imagine how joyful it is to read in original language. Of course, I have the Georgian translation. Reread it, embrace it. I think I'll of course, obviously, I loved Kafka even when I was studying at bachelor degree at university, but now I have a different and deeper understanding of what he did, and his contribution to world thinking is just unique. So, first choice, Kafka, every time works. The second book, which is also fictional, and I will move to philosophical books. Of course, all books are philosophical, but with fictional stories. I wanted to read Hermann Hesse Siddhartha for a long time, and finally I had a chance to read. This is also a small book, only 170 or 150 even pages. It's also translation, not original language. Amazing translation, I have to say. And Siddhartha, first of all, I love when East meets West, and Hermann Hesse obviously is a Western thinker, but he spent a lot of time in India, as I read, and he has such a good understanding of human mind, and especially Eastern philosophy, and I really loved how East meets West here. I find some type of attempt to rationalize and westernize the Eastern philosophy, to be completely honest, but I don't have any problem with that. I don't have a problem with thinkers who really try to find reason. And in the end, Hermann Hesse breaks his own thinking box and embraces feelings and authentic sensitivity to the world more than human rational thinking and mind. And this is just such a wonderful book, very good to read, very good to reflect on, and I think it's helpful to all of us who try to understand what is the meaning of life and what is not the meaning of life. So this book I really loved, and it acted as a good transition to the next book that I will talk about. What a marvelous book it is. The first and last written by Freedom by J. Krishnamurti. English, J. Krishnamurti is the philosopher and thinker who I discovered a few years ago, and I've been listening to his lecture on YouTube, and they are available on YouTube, and I really recommend you go out and check him, because this is just such a pure joy and free education and free therapy for us. It is a gift and a blessing, so use it. I don't know why people don't really go out and listen to these thinkers. This is available for everyone. How lazy we are, you know, we don't even want to like go out and find something that is already there. Okay, so Krishnamurti's lectures, I already knew what this book would be about, but unlike the YouTube lecture, this is more focused, more intense. This is the collection of lectures and questions and answer sessions, because he was the thinker who sought in action, and that's why I really respect him. He's such an unbelievable thinker. To me personally, he opened up new spaces in my brain and in my visual thinking, new ways of understanding, new ways of relating to my personal problems and challenges, which all come from challenges of the mind, you know. So this is about how to, as the book says, the first and last freedom, how to set yourself free and how to end suffering. And end suffering not in terms of manifestation, as today people love to say, manifest and have positive thinking and things will come to you. No. This is a real key to people who really want to have fundamental changes. Not changes like I feel good now, but tomorrow I don't know what will happen, but no, to end suffering once and for all. And this also is such a good mirror to the world. And Krishnamurti always said, who you are, the world is. You know, so it is all in you. And if you fundamentally change, the world will change. War will not end wars. This is unbelievable truth that we need to hear. I would have this at universities, at schools. I would make it part of curriculum. It is amazing what we are taught at schools and at universities, and what type of knowledge we are not exposed to. And these are the books and stuff I found on my own. Nobody gave it to me. I was just always searching for them. I needed them, and now I'm giving it to you. Amazing, amazing book, a life-changing book. If I would recommend you to read one book from this, read this from this list. The next thinker, who is my uh, favorite thinker, and I'm slightly biased to say it because he was Georgian writer. This is Merab Mamardashvili, and he was Georgian philosopher and thinker and just an amazing human being. I have 4 of his books on my hand. I always buy his books whenever it's available. There was a shortage of his books for some time, and now I'm really happy to see that he's coming back. And I'm really happy to actually discover that in Georgia there is a real hunger to Eastern and Western philosophy. Merab Mamardashvili is for sure a Western philosopher. However, and he has reflection on writers like Marcel Proust and Greek mythology. I really think he is the treasure of Georgia, and he's not only Georgian, he's such a universal thinker. Merab Mamardashvili, like Jiddu Krishnamurti, he was a thinker in action. He did not sit down and write things, as I know. It was lectures that he would give on the spot. So this was like one-time performances, and I'm so glad he recorded them. These books are based on his lectures, and I'm also happy to say that his lectures are available on YouTube in Georgian and in Russian, because he used to live in Soviet times, and I don't know how he but how he broke through this censorship and Soviet framework. He was such a modern thinker. What he writes here applies to our world, especially being Georgian. This is a hardcore recommendation to all my Georgian followers. This is any book you can find or any lecture you can find by Merab Mamardashvili will help you understand things, help you understand how a totalitarian regime works, how it makes you not think and not see things. Especially now with the Ukraine war, Merab Mamardashvili is one of the key people in correct understanding of what the Soviet regime was and used to do to people. So I really love him, and I'm so surprised that this is not a table book of every Georgian, because if most Georgians read this book, I doubt that we would have this type of government now. All his books, I mean, I really love. He has lectures on antique philosophy. Really love lectures about mind and civilization. Again, mind and thinking about philosophy. Speaking about or talking about philosophy, highly recommend. I have 4 books, but any book of Merab Mamardashvili. I especially like his lectures on antique philosophy, because nothing is new in this world, and we have to admit that we are going through the same pattern, and we need to set ourselves free, and these books are just reminders of that. So my 4th recommendation. Last but not least is a very practical choice, and anyone who is in a relationship or who has problems with the loved ones, it doesn't matter whether you are straight, heterosexual, homosexual, LGBT, queer, doesn't matter. This is the book about relationships, and we need this in our life. This is A Mating in Captivity by Esther Perel. My friend recommended listening to Esther Perel's podcast. She's a couples therapist, and I think one of the brilliant living thinkers in today's world. She's also so cute and so stylish. She's Belgian, and she has this multicultural approach to relationships, And Mating in Captivity is just an amazing book. Okay, I just opened up to a really good sentence. Sometimes I just underline things I like. And I really love to have books and not, digital format, because I can touch them, they're tangible. I'm old-fashioned, I know. Okay, so we bring to our romantic relationships an almost unbearable existential vulnerability, as if love itself weren't dangerous enough. It's such a good book, and I love, she quotes Proust here. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeing new landscapes, but in having new eyes. And this applies to all the books, I think. So I really love this book. It is just, I don't know, this is a collection of wisdom of two relationships, and if you are someone who is struggling, not only someone who's struggling, but everyone has relationships, and this is just go-to. This is not exclusive to romantic relationships. It can also be helpful to people in friendship who think that they have toxic relationship with parents or tumultuous relationships with surroundings. This is just a blessing. Again, you can buy this book and avoid years of therapy. Believe me, this is my go-to book, and it's international bestseller, as it says, for a good reason. And just a cherry on top of the cake, I really enjoyed reading this little piece of heaven. This is a collection of little poems by Abbas Kiarostami. You know, I love his films, and it's also accompanied by with his little photos, which are amazing. And this is just such a wonderful investment. I really love that in Georgia these publishers came to idea to give us some little pieces of tasty delights, such as this book. I don't know, I just really cherish it and I love it. I really enjoy reading, but not all the books I like. So I would give any of these books to my best friends as a gift. Thank you so much for watching. Comment down below what book changed your life. Now that I think, there are of course some other books, but these are my recent picks and books that I always will go back to.